Welcome to Pure Talk. I was so excited about St. Patty's Day coming up because I really wanted to play with this green color, and as you can see, I did. The color that I used for the shamrock is different than the color I used on my eyes, but I just had so much fun playing with these green colors. I love any excuse really to play with more color. I wanted to keep this video really simple, easy to follow, and focused on the eyes. Everything I used today will be listed in the description below, so make sure you check it out. Let's go play with makeup. For this particular look today, I would definitely recommend not putting on your foundation first, because working with these shadows is probably gonna cause some fallout of color to land on your cheeks. You definitely don't wanna start with the foundation first, but you wanna start with a nice bare face. All I have on my skin right now is some moisturizer and a little bit of BB cream. Let's get started. So I have some bag under my eyes right now, but I don't want to even go into fixing that at all until the eye makeup is done, and then we can do whatever else we need to do with the skin. The first step was applying primer, which I've already done off camera. The second step is going to be to apply some color. So I'm going to use some of this pink shade from the For Goodness Baked palette, and as you can see, the pink is really almost gone because I use it a lot. I kind of love it. I'm gonna begin by taking that pink color and putting it not on the lid, but above it. In this kind of mid area here. And I'm not even touching directly underneath my eyebrow. I'm just staying in this midsection. This next step is where it gets a little messy. I'm gonna go in with this very dark color from the Royalty palette. It's called Victorious. And I'm gonna go in with this very small eyeshadow brush. It's got some give to it, but it definitely is smaller. It's not like my big fluff brushes that I always use. So I wanna just be a little concise in where I apply this color. It's gonna look a little crazy in the beginning, but just bear with me as we go. So I'm going to just kind of apply it here and here. So it's going to look like a V. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same on the other side. Just wanna shake my brush out a little bit. Okay, and it doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, it's very, very messy right now, but as I blend, it's gonna look a lot better. So now I am gonna take one of my fluff brushes that I love to use for blending, and I'm going to go in and I'm just gonna start doing little circles and just start blending this out. And it is okay with the blending if you go in like that just a little bit, but you want to keep most of the movement in the corner. And this is going to help create that depth of eye once we add our next color on. So I went ahead and started some of the blending on this eye as well. As you can see, it's a lot darker. I am going to add some more color to this eye so that it is matching it in darkness, and I'm going to lighten this one up a little bit. So I'm going to do a lot more blending, and if you want it to be darker, you can make it darker. If you want it to be a little bit softer, you can do that as well. So some people might look at this and just say, you know what, that's as dark as I want it to be, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're looking for a little bit more intense drama, then you're gonna want it to go a little bit darker, kind of like this eye. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend it so that it is gauged to the depth that I'm looking for, and you can go ahead and do the same. So I went ahead and added a little bit more color to this eye, and then I blended out both eyes so that they're just about even on both sides. Now, if you don't get this perfect, it's okay. You're gonna continue to blend as you go. So I just wanna give you a few blending tips. I have two different fluff brushes that I'm using. I'm using this one that has kind of, I call this like a big fluff because it goes out and it's not dense at all at the top. It just kind of swishes the way you need it to. Then there's this brush that I also use for blending. It's a little stiffer. It doesn't swish as much because the hairs are a little bit shorter. So I want you to see that because those are the two main brushes that I'm using for the blending. And this one specifically, I'm using if there's a line. So for example, you want to always make sure that the brush is clean. So I'm cleaning it off a little bit first, but if let's say you see a little bit of a line, let's say here, you know, you can always kind of blend that out that way. Now, if you find that you have a large area to cover, you know, like in here needs a little bit more, then I would suggest doing it with the bigger fluff, okay? The other thing I would suggest too is to always keep cleaning your brush off. So you're gonna blend a little bit, wipe a little bit, blend a little bit, wipe a little bit. And the reason for that is you want to be kind of softening it out while you're blending. If you have some color in the brush, let's say it's gone in a little bit deeper, right? You can actually be you're trying to blend, but you might be putting more color on. So if you wipe the brush and you're tapping out the rest of the shadow that might be on it or in it, then you are definitely just blending with a cleaner brush, and it helps with the blending process. Another thing that I do that really helps me is I will take a Q-tip, and let's say this black area kind of went a little too high on my brow, and I don't want it that high, obviously. I would just kind of clean it up in here, and then I would also kind of brush out a little bit here if I saw any kind of line, and then I would go back in after wiping my brush and blend again right in that area. And that will help you if you blended it a little too far, either out this way or up this way. You can always, kind of clean it up a little bit with a Q-tip. Another thing that's going to help you save time for this specific look is not blending on the lid here, just blending the outer corner out this way, because you're going to do something completely different with the lid, and it doesn't need to be blended with the black as much. So I wouldn't worry too much there. So now we're ready to go in with our next color, and this color is called Believe, and it's from the 7K line. So what's really fun about this color is it does so many different things. If you want to put this color in your hair, you can. If you want to make a nail polish out of it, you can. I'm not wearing it as a nail polish today. I have this other color that I'm wearing, which I thought was really pretty and metallic. You can make a lip gloss out of it. You can basically do whatever it is that you want with this color. So I'm gonna take a very flat, dense brush, and I'm gonna wet it, and then I'm gonna start putting it in my color Believe. I'm actually testing it on my hand so that I always like to test it on my hand to make sure that it's not too clumpy and that I added enough water, and just that it's gonna go on nicely. That's important. And I'm gonna just start applying this only to the lid, and I'm just gonna tap it on, not wiping, just tapping. My lights kind of are flickering. We're in a heavy snowstorm right now, and I hope the lights don't shut off, because then this video will end abruptly. When you put on this beautiful green color, what you can do is you can go in with a Q-tip and just start very gently cleaning up the line a little bit, especially before it completely dries, because it does take a little, a couple seconds to dry, maybe about a minute, I guess. So you want to get in there right away and just start kind of cleaning up the edge. You want to try really hard to just keep this on the lid, just the eyelid itself. You don't want to go up too high with this color. And again, you could just clean it up. And use a Q-tip to just lightly blend. So this is a bit buildable. So if you feel like you didn't put on enough green to begin with, okay, what you can do is let it dry and then go ahead and put another layer, just tapping it on very gently, okay? The other thing I would suggest at this point is if you look at yourself and you go, oh gosh, I could have went a little bit more dramatic in the crease, not a problem, you can still do that. So what you want to do is you want to work on one of the eyes that are not wet anymore. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. And I can go ahead and go into my color, that dark color that I use, Victorious, and I can just very gently I'm using a very light hand here to just add a little bit of dimension. And I'm being very careful to not blend over the green. I want to stay on the outside of the green. And that added a little bit on that side. It needs to be blended a little bit more, but you can just kind of, gauge it as you need to. Just look at it and say, okay, do I want a little bit more? And then just add a little, blend more. Add a little, blend. At this point, if it doesn't look perfect, it's completely fine. I find that it's just easier to do the final touches once you have a little bit more in place. So one of the things that I do want to bring up is that don't be too concerned about what happens from here down. okay? So if like under here is messy, down below here is kind of messy, not a big deal because you're gonna clean that up later, all right? So you're a little bit more concerned about what happens here up, okay? So the blending in here you wanna work on, and that's pretty much what you wanna focus on. If you have any blending to do on the line where the green is, just make sure that you use a Q-tip and you go in very, very softly. The next thing I'm gonna do is go in with a cream eyeliner, and it's called Chocolate Lover. And what I like to do, I know my hand looks like a mess right now, but I've still got the green there. What I like to do is I like to put it on my hand first and warm it up with a finger, and then I'll just wipe my finger off, and then I'll use that as basically my color palette. Now I really want a black eyeliner look for this, and you're gonna see how I do that with a chocolate base, okay? Or a brown base, basically. I'm gonna go really close to the lashes, super close. So you want a very, very thin line. You should be feeling it on your lashes a little bit, slightly, okay? Really close. Okay, and then when I get to the end, what I'm gonna do is create a small tail. And I'm gonna do that right here at the end of my lashes. I'm just gonna do a little swipe up. And that's gonna create a little tail. Now from that tail, I'm going to start about here and meet the end of the tail, okay? So it's gonna make almost like a triangle. Let me get a little bit more color on the brush. I kind of think of this as an upside down triangle, and then you're gonna fill it in. And then you can let your liner get, you know, a little bit thicker as it goes out to the tail. So you can make it start to get a little bit thicker right in here. And then you've got that triangle there. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other eye. So I have the tail on both eyes, and you know, if you don't get this perfect, you know, for example, you know, if you look at it and you go, oh, well, this one looks a little bit thicker, or this one looks a little bit longer, you can always tweak that. So don't get too overly concerned too fast. One of the things I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go back into that dark color Victorious, and I'm going to take that color and just pat it where I did the eyeliner. So I'm gonna start this off with an angle brush, and this is one that I use very frequently for eyeliner. I'm gonna dip it in the shadow, and then I'm just going to very gently pat right on top of the liner that I did. And this is basically going to take your chocolate liner and make it a black liner. I would probably do this even if I had black eyeliner, cream eyeliner with me, because one of the things, I gotta put my hair back, one of the things that's really great about putting the powder on top is that it really makes the color stay, you know, long. It makes it stay really long. And so, you know, it's a nice thing to do regardless. But I kind of ran out of black eyeliner, cream eyeliner, so I need to get some. So you're mostly just tapping, and then you're gonna do the same thing on the other eye. That last step is one of the last steps that you wanna do before starting to clean up under the eyes and in the corners here. Now, unless that is, you want to increase some of the drama in the eyes. If you want to increase some of the drama, you can go ahead and do that by adding a little bit of color and blending out as we discussed before. This next part is a bit fun for me. I actually really enjoy doing this part. So I'm gonna take a cotton round and I'm gonna put a little bit of makeup remover on it, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna just start cleaning up the bottom. Don't go too close to the tail. You know, just keep it just on the cheeks. You can go to the side if you need to. Don't worry about creating a line like that. You can always blend. But just, you know, kind of clean up what needs to be cleaned up. And then what you're gonna do, just to be a little bit more precise, is take a Q-tip. Oops. Just squirted makeup remover on me by mistake. Okay. With the Q-tip, what you wanna do is just go at the end of your eye, so there's a starting point, and then you're gonna very gently roll up. Be very careful of that tail. Now what's nice about this move is that if your tail's a little too thick down towards this way, this is a great way to thin it out, okay? So that could be a little helpful trick for you. And then you can flip it and use the dry side to blend any little lines that you just created by removing makeup. And there you go. Now, what happens if you make a mistake? I just made this one a little thinner than I wanted it to be by mistake. I just took a little too much off. So you just go back in and put it back on. One of the things that I love the most about our makeup remover is that you can put makeup right on top of it. So if I were to take all this eye makeup off right now and I wanted to do another look or another video, I can just take it off. I don't have to rinse or anything. I can just start my next look. So that's the really great thing about this. It's just easy to fix mistakes, and it's easy if you're doing multiple looks, or if you're you know, needing to kind of take off previous makeup and then you want to go ahead and start right away. I will give you a little word of warning. So if you've got the tails to where they are pretty perfect, they are just so close to exact practically, but there's just maybe a tiny bit more you can do to just make it even that much more perfect, just don't do it. Seriously, don't do it, because what happens is we try sometimes, we over obsess and we try to make it so perfect that we end up messing it up. So I always think it's better to just leave it if it's pretty close and it's, you know, hardly noticeable that one is just slightly different. Just leave it, because you're really looking for the effect of the look more than the perfection of the look. I'm not saying to have them like way off. I'm talking about when you have it really close, but you just want perfection, perfection, perfection. Don't over obsess. And I actually have to take my own advice right now, because I really do want to mess with it a little bit more, but I'm not going to. Now that I've done some cleaning up, what I'm going to do is go ahead and add my base and concealer, and I'll be right back. So I changed my mind about the foundation. I decided to just put some concealer where I need it and just keep it very light. So there's a few things that I'm going to do off camera. I'm going to curl my lashes, and I'm also going to put on lashes, okay? But before I do that, I want to actually go in with a very fine liner brush, and we're going to come in with a new color. This one is called Snowball, and it's perfect for today because there is a huge snowstorm that we're having, so I think Snowball is appropriate. Snowball is a 7K. I'm going to go ahead and mix it with water to bring out the pigment for a very vibrant effect. And I'm going to go right on top of the black liner that we did on the inside. So I'm going to start in here. And I'm staying right on top of that black liner. See that? It's directly on top. Keeping it very thin. And I'm gonna have it where it just kind of fades in the center. So it's gonna go up, and then in the center it just disappears. So that's step one with this color. The second step is as follows. We're gonna start all the way here at the end of the tail, and we're gonna follow it up. You're gonna bring it in and underneath. You're only going to go to that center part. You're going to let it disappear like you did on the top. Make sure that it disappears around the same spot as well. Now if you go too thick, don't worry, because remember what we did with the Q-tip before to thin out the tail? You can do that with this line as well if you need to. And then you're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other eye. So this is more or less the final look. And basically off camera, I did my mascara and my lashes. And oh, I'm sorry, this is not the final look. I just realized I forgot one thing. So I'm actually gonna take a white pencil and I'm gonna do my waterline, and that's gonna actually make the white that we have on top and the white that we have on the bottom really pop. And you're gonna see that it's gonna open up the eye a lot too. I also put a little shamrock on my cheek, wrong cheek, this cheek. And yeah, I kind of left my hand like this so that you could see that it took a couple of tries on my hand before I can get it right on my face. So, you know, feel free to play with that. If you feel up to the challenge of putting a shamrock on your cheek, you know, I think after the 3 tries I did on my hand, it wasn't so bad. When I did it on my face, it was a little easier. So you're gonna actually take this and you're gonna put this in your waterline. Hold on, all my hair is in my face here. You're gonna put this in your waterline. So I have it on this eye, I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the other eye. I feel like that little pop inside the waterline just adds such a nice touch to this look, and I just love the way it came together. So there was a few things that I did off camera. Concealer, mascara, lashes, and very basic contour. I also filled in my brows a bit. I kept it extremely light. All I did was go in with a very thin brush, kind of like this one, and I just took a little bit of brow color and just drew in little hairs, basically. Just drew them in very lightly. I kept the brows super light because all the drama-rama I wanted to really be on the eyes. So I have another St. Patty's Day look on my channel if you want to check it out and maybe even try something a little bit more subtle. That one is definitely a little bit more subtle than today's look, but I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you get to try it out. I do love playing with color on my eyes. I just absolutely love it. I love this amount of drama on my eyes. I just find it to be so much fun. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to this channel. All you have to do is hit the little bell icon so that you can be notified when new videos come out. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and our website, gpurity.com. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you something. Happy St. Patty's Day. Mwah.